I'm about to read The Haunting of Hill House by Shirley Jackson. This is part of the horror book club that I am in. I like horror, but sometimes it really freaks me out, so I don't do it too often, but once a month should be okay. I hope. So from my understanding, The Haunting of Hill House follows along 4 characters. One of them is a doctor, the other one lives in Hill House, and the 2 others I think are like assistants or people who are really good at working with poltergeists or something. I'm not entirely sure like who they all are, but I understand that all 4 of these characters are going to be spending time in Hill House, I think, to record poltergeist activity. But what they don't know is that the ghost wants to like possess one of them, I think, is like how I think the story is going to go. That's pretty much all I know. I don't know too much. I know that there was a TV show, The Haunting of Hill House, which I only ever saw the trailer and was terrified, so then I could never finish it or even start the show. So yeah, hopefully it's not super scary. I'm excited for it though. I think horror always has such a great way, like with having the twists and turns and going outside of the box in terms of like how the story works. The story is pretty old. I believe it came out in like the 1950s, so that's gonna be really cool. And yeah, I'm excited. So I think without further ado, let's just crack this book right open. So I'm a little bit more than 100 pages as well as halfway through The Haunting of Hill House, and here are my thoughts so far. I already had a nightmare last night, okay, and it's not even scary yet. I really love the writing style in this book. It is so good and so creepy, and it's just like the build up. Like I'm halfway through the book and nothing super scary has happened yet. It's just like the build up of it being scary. Like there's this one caretaker who just repeats herself over and over and refuses to be at the house at nighttime. The description of the house is so creepy. It's like a circus fun house kind of vibe where like it doesn't make any sense. The way it was built is like super confusing. The doors, they close on their own. It doesn't matter if you open them and prop them open, they close. There's just like random cold spots. There's this like 100% cursed nursery. And I got to the scene where there was like knocking, like really hardcore knocking on the 2 girls' like bedroom, and that was really creepy. And apparently my friend who loves everything horror, he's like, oh, if you're scared of that, like wait till you get the picnic scene. I'm like, what is the picnic scene? Like I don't know what that is and I'm scared. He says it freaked him out, so wish me luck. So where I'm at in the story right now is we have our 4 main characters. So we have the doctor, who is basically trying to figure out like what makes a haunted house haunted, and he's just kind of like doing his research in this haunted house. And so he wanted to hire some assistants, and so that's where 2 of our main characters come in, Eleanor and Theodora. Those are our 2 girls. And then we have Luke, who is like, he doesn't own the house, but he will own the house one day. Like it's like in his family, so he's like a nephew, I believe it was. And so part of the deal with the doctor being able to rent the house is that it had to be somebody from the family also has to be there. So he's there, and so the 2 assistants are these 2 girls, and it's mostly from like Eleanor's perspective. Like the beginning of the book, we're introduced to our 4 different characters, and then it's just kind of following along Eleanor, who I really like. I really do. I love the way that her imagination just kind of like takes her along for the ride, but it also kind of makes her an unreliable narrator in a way, because like when she's driving up to Hill House, there are so many times where she sees something like the lions, for instance, like the little lion statues, and she has this whole imagination about like her owning the house and like cleaning the lions and petting them goodnight and like all this, and her imagination kind of takes her and gets her carried away with stuff. So I don't know if maybe that's kind of like maybe she's a bit of an unreliable narrator, and there's other times where she imagined that she was like a princess and all of this, and then she was like, oh yes, and then this, and then this, and it's just like her imagination just really, really, really grabs her and goes. So it's like, if we're really focusing on her as the character, how do we know like what she's seeing and experiencing is actually happening? Because there are the other characters, but we don't really get their perspective. Only like that first introduction to them did we see it, but I don't know. Makes me wonder. But then it's also just like, it's really interesting, and like her character is just like so sweet and kind and stuff that I don't want anything bad to happen to her. And then like she and Theodora became like really, really fast friends, and it's just like such a nice little girl. It's like girlhood. It just feels like girlhood, and I really like it. And then the two boys, I don't really know too much about them yet, but they seem nice. They like to play chess together and all this. It's scary though that the house is like trying to separate the boys and the girls for whatever reason. And like, I don't know what to expect, and I don't want to like grow attached to these characters because it's horror. And obviously horrible things are going to happen to these characters. Nothing bad has happened yet, but it's just like really creepy. And the buildup is like, really, really good. And I'm really nervous about what's gonna happen because I know it's gonna get scary. I'm having a really good time reading this book, to be honest. It's so well written, and I really think that Shirley Jackson does an incredible job in just like creating this spooky, eerie atmosphere before anything spooky or eerie even happens. Like this is the build up, and it's like halfway through the book and I'm like, oh, I like it, but I also am scared. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's like I'm such a bad horror person because like I really love horror, but like it really freaks me out. Like I've already had a nightmare. So yeah, and then because my friend told me about the picnic scene, I don't know what is gonna happen in the picnic scene, but now I know if there's gonna be a picnic in this book, that something horrible is gonna happen. So yeah, I'm scared. The lore as well in this book is really, really good about like the ownership of Hill House and the two sisters, and then like how the older sister basically lived in the house, and then the younger sister was really jealous, like stole her husband and tried to steal the house. Like somebody kept on breaking into the house. She ended up like kind of having like this companion, so one of the girls from the village, who I don't know if this was like a romantic thing or not, I'm not entirely sure, because I know this book is a little bit on the older end, so I don't know if that was like allowed. But yeah, it was her and this little companion person, and then after the older sister passed away, the companion was the new owner of the house, and the younger sister did not like it, and so she constantly harassed her. She would, like, the whole townspeople were against her. She kept on like breaking into the house over and over and over, to the point where she actually drove the companion to like hang herself. I don't know if it's the companion who's haunted the house, or if it's the sisters who are haunted the house, or who is haunted the house, or maybe if the house was haunted before. I don't know, but we will find out. But it's very well thought out and very well crafted and very well written. I'm having like a really good time, but also like, you know. So I'm going to continue to read The Haunting of Hill House, and because this book isn't too long, I will update you when I finish it, so then we can talk about my final thoughts. So last night I finished The Haunting of Hill House, and this was such a good book. It was so well written, it was so spooky, and it was like the OG haunted house story. And what I really like about it is that you don't actually see any kind of ghost or monster or whatever it could be, but you feel it. Like there was a scene where she's like holding a hand, and then she realizes that it wasn't the hand of her friend at all, and it's like, that is so creepy, heebie-jeebies. And then there's like blood that's like painted on the wall, like really creepy stuff banging on all the doors, really creepy, just like the house moving around. It's really ominous. That picnic scene, the flowers scene, like it's so creepy. And as you're reading it, you start to wonder like what's real and what's not real. And it felt like I was losing my mind. And then like the way that Eleanor's character was kind of like going through the story, from loving characters to hating characters to being a really good representation of like social anxiety, but also like delusions, like poor girl was going through it. I think what I liked about this book so much is that it wasn't like one of those books where it's like scary. Like the house is like the setting, but the house is like a representation of the characters' minds, and it's more of like a psychological thriller, I would say. And it's like you're inside of the characters' minds and you're like dealing with like memories and trauma and like all of this stuff. And it was just like, it was so well done. And it's like you really feel for Eleanor's character and you just feel so bad for her. Like the house really helps her in a way, like kind of open up about her traumas, but then she doesn't get the support that she needs, and so she kind of like spirals. She starts to think that everybody hates her. She starts to kind of like lose her mind in certain ways, and it's just like, it's really, really tough. And like the whole time as well, I was wondering, I was like, is Eleanor the child at the picnic because she wore a red sweater? That's kind of my headcanon. It wasn't actually confirmed or anything like that, but I kind of thought while I was reading it that it was Eleanor who was actually the ghost of the house. Because imagine that, right? Like she's the first one in the house, and then everybody starts to show up. And there just seems like there were so many hints, but then it was like that wasn't really the case. But I think that would have been really cool because it seemed like that could be the case with all the traumas and stuff that she dealt, like especially with that scene with her dancing. I don't know. I think that would be pretty cool. But it is really interesting because like we're introduced to this girl who's never really been socialized. She is super lonely and she feels super guilty for her mother's death. And so like going into a place, she's like, oh, maybe I'll finally have somewhere I belong. But no, she was never wanted. Nobody wants her. They kick her out, like all this stuff. And she just had like such like a childlike innocence to her, which again made me kind of go to my theory where I'm like, oh, like maybe she was the child in the nursery. Like maybe that's why. And it's like maybe that's why the house is calling to her. I don't know. But the house definitely seemed to call to people who were lonely and people with mental illness and like all this stuff. So I thought that it was really cool because like I'm reading it and I'm like, what is real? What is real? I don't know what is real and like where it's gonna go. And then the ending of this book, like, excuse me? What? Yeah, that was a time. That was a time. I really liked it. It was creepy and it was scary, but it was more scary in the terms of like that it's about like the mental state of the people in the house, less about the house, but it was still had its own little creepy parts and just like the writing and like the tone. Shirley Jackson's command of tone is so good. It's so creepy, and the entire book was creepy without ever actually seeing anything, which makes it even scarier in my opinion when you can't see what is haunting you. That's terrifying. I think what else is really interesting about this book, and this is definitely why it's a classic because there's so many ways to interpret it, is like what was actually going on in the house. Like, was it a complete delusion? Was it ghosts? Was it half and half? Was it a dream? Was it from the ghost point of view? Who knows? It's just like creepy and unsettling. And honestly, that's the type of horror that I like. I wasn't like, I was really scared this book was going to be like jump scare galore and just being like really freaked out all the time. But no, you get like the subtle scary things like the hand and the picnic and the flowers and like all that kind of stuff. And that's scarier because I don't know about you, but when I'm watching like a movie or something, once you see the bad guy or like the demon or the ghost or whatever, it's less scary. But when you don't see it, oh boy. Yeah, just I feel like there's so much more to talk about with this book, but this is just like fresh out of like, you know, going to bed after reading a scary book and then waking up and I'm like, okay, these are my thoughts, but maybe I'll have more thoughts in the future, like when I do my end of month wrap up video. But like these are kind of like what's coming to my head. I loved how psychological it was. I loved the writing. It's just so good. It's so good. And it's one of those books that like I devoured this book in like less than 2 days. It was so good. And like also it was scary. I'm like, I need to finish this book. I need to know what happens. And then like I felt dizzy reading the book, but like in a good way, because I was like, whoa, like haunted house, delusion, paranoia. Like, is it all just collective paranoia? Nobody knows. And I love that. So good. So good. This is such a good book. I'm so happy I read it, even though I got nightmares from it, but still. So today we are going to be awarding The Haunting of Hill House a total of 4.5 stars. This book was great. Like I mentioned, the writing itself is so eerie and so clever and so good. It has you questioning every single thing. and like going from one place to the other, from like the mood swings of the characters to like the paranoia to the claustrophobic feeling of being in that house. And it's not like if you're going to read like a scary book, you have to think of this as like a haunted house kind of book. It's not like a demon. It's not like, I mean, it could be a ghost, who knows, but you don't see anything. You don't get jump scares. You get very small, subtle, scary, creepy, unnerving scenes that give you goosebumps and you're like, oh boy, like, oh, what is going on here? Like, I don't really know. But it's really the psychological aspect of a lonely, sad, depressed girl who is trying to find her way in the world while being overwhelmed with guilt and just feels like everybody hates her, and then is stuck in one place, the house. And yeah, I don't want to give too much away. It's just, it's really good. And like the repetition, the use of repetition in this book is so good. Really just adds to the atmosphere, adds to the characters, adds to really just like the delusions, and like, oh, there's so much. This is a really good book. This is a really good book. I definitely recommend this book. So the next book that I'm going to be reading is Silver Elite by Dani Francis. Beautiful looking cover. This is a dystopian for adults, so it's spicy and it's dystopian and it sounds pretty cool. So I'm excited to read this. So thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, definitely hit the subscribe button if you haven't already, and turn on the bell notification. That way you get notified anytime a new video comes out. If you enjoyed this video and you are a horror fan, definitely hit the like button and recommend me some horror classics that you really enjoy, preferably nothing too like jump scary, but something more like Haunted of Hill House, I think, because I really enjoyed this book. And really great news for you as well, if you want to be part of an exclusive community where you can vote on polls, choose which books I get to read next, have badges, emojis, and exclusive access to videos before they're published, you can. And it's all possible by becoming a member of my channel. All the information for it is in the description to this video, so definitely check that out. And with that, I'm going to wish you warm wishes and fish kisses, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!